So, according to studies, there's one food that raises testosterone levels by 52%.
Buenos dias. Buenos dias. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Bien. Bien. Conmigo, bien. Mucho trabajo en Minnesota. Mucho trabajo in Minnesota. Lots of work. I'm tired. Whooped my butt yesterday. I'm a little bit. My body's aching a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. All the moving around, and it's cold. My body has been aching. But I tell you what, though, I know how to beat it. Soy backstrap. Yeah, backstrap. Y'all on here for the last one? It's cold in Florida? Yeah, I bet it is. I bet it ain't colder than here. I bet it ain't colder than this frozen tundra. This is the tundra. This is the frozen north. You don't get no colder than Minnesota. My body is aching though. The cold, it get to your bones. When that cold get into your skin, it get to your bones. That's a different animal. I've been drinking tea non-stop. Tea at night, tea right now. Trying to warm my body up. I had to go to sleep. Put my hat on because I was like cold as hell. Shivering. I was like shivering. Y'all here for the last one, right? Say word. I will stay warm. Vitamin C, some tea. Hey, but I gotta be here. It's 9 o'clock here. It's 10 o'clock where you at, but I gotta do it 9 o'clock because I can't get up at no 8. 8 o'clock here is like, I'm still sleeping. Yeah. Drink this tea right now. All right. I know y'all came for the last video. I want to talk about that. As I was meditating last night on this topic. As I was meditating on this topic last night, I was asking myself, how does one miscommunicate? How does one miscommunicate? How does one begin to miscommunicate? That's what I was meditating on last night. And so many scenarios came up in how we miscommunicate. that we don't recognize or notice. So before we go into our message today, I forgot to do this yesterday, so I don't want to forget to do it today.
Frank's thick sauce is still the perfect blend of flavor.
We gotta breathe before the lesson.
As shown in this unrealistic simulation.
We gotta breathe before the lesson.
Thick. I put that on everything.
We gotta breathe. I forgot to do this yesterday in the beginning. So let's not forget to do it today. If you're joining me and you're watching, let's go ahead and let's get centered. Let's get centered. And let's get quiet so we can receive. You need to be able to receive, and you just got to be quiet. Yesterday I was on a summit. I was in a summit yesterday. And you're listening to other speakers speak. Although your knowledge may supersede them or not. But you still got to listen. You got to get quiet so you can listen. So I had to be still so I can receive, even if I feel like they don't know what the hell they talking about. I didn't feel that, but just saying. So I have to be quiet to receive. All right? So let me get out of this. We're talking about breaking patterns of miscommunication. Breaking the miscommunication patterns. So I'm going to pull out of here. And I'm going to come back to you full screen. And we're going to make this last video a good one. Okay? Thank you. So let's breathe right now, because I need it too. Take the time to inhale through your nose. Let the breath rise. Let it elevate and expand. Let it sit. Hold it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release through the nose. Inhale through the nose again. Let it rise, let it rise. Let it expand. Let it sit. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release it through the mouth. In the nose, out through the mouth. One more breath. Deep inhale. If you're sitting, inhale from your root. If you're standing, inhale from the ground up. Inhale right now. Let it rise. Let it expand in your consciousness. Let it sit. Release it through the mouth. In the nose, out through the mouth. Beloved, we're going to talk about an important topic today. I didn't save this one for last. It just so happened to be. There was no order to how these series went. I didn't go in direct order, so miscommunication just happened to be the last one. It's not that it's an important one, but it just happened to be the last one. Any one of them could have been the last one. So now that you're here with me and you're ready to receive, let's talk about miscommunication patterns. So as I was meditating last night and I was looking at how do one miscommunicate? Like, how do one miscommunicate? And how is it a constant pattern that people do? Constantly. It's a pattern. And as I began to become aware to the miscommunication traits that people display, it starts by one, you not being authentic and true with yourself. So listen to me, this is going to be a good one today. I'm not going to be with the antics today. I'm just going to give it to you straight. Listen, you miscommunicate. Miscommunication patterns and traits are displayed in one's characteristics through a person, a being, not being authentic and true with themselves. And because you are not being authentic, you're basically being dishonest or lying to yourself. Because you're lying to yourself, what you say doesn't come out correctly because you're lying to yourself about who you are, and you're lying to yourself about your situation. You're lying to yourself about the people around you. You're lying to yourself. You're in denial. So miscommunication happens because of denial, naivete. You understand? Denial and naivete. People being naive about a situation, about their relationships. People being naive about their finances. People being naive about their development and their growth and development spiritually, physically, whatever. It's a denial. And so one begins to miscommunicate because of denial. You're not true and authentic. You're denying who you truly are. And so at any given moment, a conversation you may be having, it's not going to be a true and authentic conversation of yourself. And I'm not talking about talking about yourself, but it's not going to be from who you are. It's not going to be from your heart. It's not going to be from an authentic place. Another way miscommunication happens, you got denial, you got naivete, denial and naivete. And another way miscommunication happens or becomes a trait in one's patterns, characteristics, is talking, but watch me, talking but not saying anything. You ever have someone around you who you be having a conversation on a topic? This happens a lot. Where you'll have a conversation on a certain topic with people and you're in this, let's say you're in this group and you're having a conversation with someone and other people come in to this conversation. They don't know where you're at. They don't know where you're at with the topic. They kind of come in the middle of the conversation and they may ask, what are y'all talking about? And then they cannot relate, so they change the subject. And so basically these are the type of people who talk, but when they open their mouths, they have nothing to say. And so a lot of times miscommunication happens because you're opening your mouth, not saying anything. Anything that's tangible, anything that someone can grab onto, someone can hold onto, and anything that can sit and rest within one's own being. If I'm talking and delivering a topic or a message or something like that, you don't ask a question. There's people that when you're out there speaking, people raise their hand at the Q&A. People raise their hands at the Q&A session, and they say this is totally unrelated to the discussion. And then why are we talking about? Why? Because you have nothing. You're saying nothing. And so I've had this happen in a lot of Q&A sessions where people would ask a question that is non-related. And the reason why they ask non-related questions is because they are fearful they have nothing to say, nothing to add value. They have nothing of value to add to the conversation. So they'll say, I have a question that's totally unrelated to the topic. It's, those are the type of people who speak but have nothing to say. And so therefore, you distort the communication barrier in the room. Now people are drawn into this crazy question you ask because of your fear of not being authentic and real with yourself to ask the real question that you may want to ask, but you think it's not relevant, or you may think it's not a question that others want to hear an answer to. It might be a self-centered question. But the fact is, it can be a self-centered question as long as it's related to the topic. That's what a Q&A is about. You're here to get answers for yourself. You're here to get answers for yourself. But when you divert the conversation, it's because when you open your mouth and you speak, you are in fear that you have nothing of value to say. And so there becomes a rift in the communication barrier. Like kind of like a stick being thrown into a spoke wheel, a bicycle. Somebody throws a stick into the spokes of a bicycle, and it stops all the momentum. It stops all the momentum. It stops all the growth. It stops all of the mental development, the spiritual, the spiritually conscious, expanding conversation that we're all in on this topic on, and we're having a great dialogue, but one throws out a question that's unrelated because of the fear that what they want to ask, not being authentic and not being real with themselves, because they have a fear that what they want to ask is something that everybody don't want to hear. And so people ask, that's why whenever the president speak, they have, when the president speaks and they got the reporters down there getting ready to ask questions, those questions that they ask are already pre-selected. Those are not just random reporters being picked at the moment. Those reporters are already pre-selected to ask their questions. Why? Because they have to vet everyone and make sure everyone is asking questions related to the topic, regardless of his personal life, regardless of his personal things, regardless of what happens personally in these presidents' lives. They have to vet the reporters and make sure that they're asking topic-related questions and not questions that have nothing to do with the topic. Okay? So, naivete, denial, and not having any not adding any value or believing that what you speak of adds value. Sometimes there is what they say, there is no such thing as a dumb question. There is no such thing as a dumb question. Sometimes you feel like that's a dumb question, and then you take the conversation another way. And so this is useless talk, yes. So this is one of the ways that happens. Miscommunication. The miscommunication barrier that gets broken, that's a pattern. And people do this, and that's a pattern that people do. The deniability, the naivete, that's a pattern in one's own self when they are speaking, when they are not being authentic and true or real. And so that's a pattern. And so it's easy for someone to lie. People lie very easily when you're not real with yourself. When you're not real with yourself, it's easy for you to lie. It's easy for you to tell a lie. And therefore, a lie breaks up all communication lines. Because you got to go back and revert to what you said. And the lie also does no good for who you're telling it to, because they get lost in translation with you know, why are you even lying? And what was the... And they get lost in translation on the discussion because you lie. And so that leaves confusion. Lying leaves confusion. Why is it leave confusion? Is because of miscommunication. The person you're lying to, they say, wait a minute, that's not what you told me. That's not what you said. That's not what you told me the other day. And so therefore there's this confusion because of a miscommunication, because it's easy for someone who's in denial and naive about their own true self. It's easy for them to lie because they're not being authentic. They're lying to themselves. So they're not being authentic anyway. So it's going to be easy to shoot out a lie. So you have denial, naivete, and you have the feeling like what you speak of has no value. You understand? And so, here's where you begin to notice other lines of broken communication or patterns that people display. Deniability, naivete, adding no value when you speak. When you speak, you got nothing to say. And when you speak, it doesn't add value. That's what it is. It just doesn't add value. Because I'm a person that believes in no words wasted. No words should be wasted that come out of your mouth. Let there not be a wasted word that comes out of your mouth. Again, I remember Muji saying, even if I'm telling a joke, Muji saying, even if I'm telling a joke, I'm saying something. Even if I'm telling a joke, I'm saying something. There is not a... He said, even if I'm telling a joke, I don't waste my words. I don't waste words. Even if I'm telling a joke, my words are not wasted. They're going to be or do one of the two things. They're going to add value or expand your consciousness. My words are going to add value to your life, something that you can jump on and go do. Or it's going to expand your consciousness, elevate you in your thinking in a level of place where you didn't know what you didn't know until I've added that value. And so a lot of times miscommunication happens. Yeah, because you don't have nothing to say. And because when you speak, a lot of times you're listen. You say, why are you always serious? Why do I need to be serious all the time? Can I joke and have fun and laugh with my family at times? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. But even if I'm joking and having fun with my family, listen to me. Even if I'm joking and having fun with my family, I'm there in that space because there's something there for me. And so, if I'm there in that space and I'm joking around having fun with my family, if I'm joking around having fun with my family, there's a reason why I'm even in that space, number one, to begin with. It's not just because this is my family and I love them, but because there's something there for me. And so I'm always looking at what's adding value. How am I growing? Even if I'm with my family and we're just joking, there's nothing really being said and we're just joking. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter if we're just joking, having conversation where it's just jokes. My presence being there, my presence is being fulfilled with some type of value. And that's where a lot of times you're confused. Here's where we're going to get deep now with this. We're going to get deep now with this miscommunication. You're confused about yourself. Where you want to go, what you want to do, where you need to be, because you have not, listen to me, you have not communicated thoroughly to yourself and made clear what it is that you're here to do. And so what happens in a lot of this miscommunication, a lot of times in miscommunicating to ourselves, a lot of times what happens is we're just finding ourselves in places around people that is not adding any value. Again, I could be around my family and we're just joking. There is no real conversation being had there. But if I'm there, if my presence is there, believe me, I'm getting something from it. There's something there to be communicated to me. Spiritually, physically, or whatever, right? There's something there that needs to be communicated to me. And that's the only reason my presence is. For me, I make my presence, I appear in places, and my presence is only in places where I know by being there, there's something to be communicated to me. And a lot of you are not clear on who you are, what you're here to do, and where you're going, where you be. You're not clear on this. And so a lot of times the jargon, the talk that's going on around you adds a lot of confusion. There's a lot of talk around you. That's why I said, if I'm somewhere around people, best believe we may just be joking and having fun and laughing and stuff, and there's no real topic conversation being had. But being in their presence is adding some type of value to me, to where I leave better than I came. I'm leaving better than I came. Better believe, I'm leaving better than I came. And so the people I'm around are adding some type of value. Even if we're not truly having a conversation, but just being in their presence is adding some type of spiritual, emotional value to me. It's a communication language that don't need to be communicated with words. And a lot of you are confused on where you belong, what you're here to do, what your purpose is. A lot of you are confused on that because you're not communicated, and then you're not communicated to yourself, and then you go and immerse yourself in groups and settings with people that is, even if there's no words being exchanged, their presence is not adding any value. And a person's presence, because to communicate, it isn't just verbal. Hell, 70% of all language is body language. This is a fact. I'm not making that up. That's an actual fact. 70% of all language is body language. And so energy is 100% of all language. And so the energy and where you put yourself, where you show up at, is not feeding back into you. It's not communicating. What do I say? I tell people this all the time. I tell people this all the time. I say, everything is communicating. Everything is communicating. The color that I'm wearing today is communicating something to you. The clothes that I have on, the hat, my facial features, my whatever, it's communicating. The background in the room, all of this is communicating to you. You're creating some type of rhetoric in your head about the background, about the looks, about my features, about my clothing, the colors that I got on today, about my hair, whatever, right? It's all communicating. Everything that you do communicates. And so your presence cannot be, listen to me, and this is where miscommunication, that's why miscommunication, y'all thought it was going to be like, oh, we speak and we don't say something when we're not saying something. No. Miscommunication is not when you're not saying something that needs to be said and it got miscommunicated. Miscommunication is when you're not getting any value for your life, for your purpose, for why you're here, from what you do. And there's a reason why you don't get any value from what you do. Because there is no communication in between. And this is how a lot of confusion happens with people. And this is why miscommunication is a pattern of yours. And you end up angry. You ever see people angry and mad and jealous of someone who's fulfilling their life purpose? I have. I've seen people mad and angry and jealous of me because I'm fulfilling my life purpose. And here's the reason why they're mad, angry, or jealous. Because they haven't communicated a clear line to themselves what they're here to do. They're confused on where they're going. They're confused because every time they get into the presence of someone who's actually living their purpose, you know what happens? They start to compare themselves to what they're not doing. They start to compare themselves to what's not happening for them. They start to compare themselves, and now they're communicating to themselves how much they fall short of their goals, how much they're not living up. They start communicating all this bad talk to themselves. They start communicating all this bad talk to themselves. And what ends up happening is they get jealous, angry, and mad and upset at you because you've clearly communicated what you're here for. You've clearly communicated what you're here to do. You clearly communicated what your purpose is. We have to communicate. Number one, denial, naivete, not adding any value. And so miscommunications happens because you're not being authentic, you're not being true, you're not, and you're in fear that what you may speak of doesn't add value. And so what happens is you get lost in translation. You get lost in translation, not me. You get lost in translation. What does that even mean? You get lost within your own head. You go back home and you consider what you're here to do. You don't even know. You haven't communicated that. So you get lost in translation. You leave the person. You're around people that's living their purpose. You see them fulfilling their dream or their goals or accomplishing the things they set out to do. And you begin to compare. And now you're getting lost in translation. You forget what you're here to do. And the reason why you're forgetting is because you haven't communicated that. That's why this is where confusion comes in at. Confusion happens because you didn't communicate to yourself. And you can do that a myriad of ways. You can do that through journaling, writing down, getting clear. Not just journaling, but writing down. Getting precise. So that when you show up anywhere, everywhere you show up, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be a conversation to be had for there to be value to be added. But wherever you show up, no matter where you show up, it's adding value. Everything is communicating. Where I choose to go eat lunch at, that it has to be something that's communicating to me. That's why I eat. When I eat, I like to go out and eat at the best restaurants. I like to go out and eat in the best environments, in the best places, because I want my environment to talk back to me. I want my environment to talk back to me. So where I choose to eat lunch at is very significant. Where I choose to go to the gym at is very significant. Where I choose to go do my work at is very significant. Where I choose to, whatever, I just don't randomly pick a place and say, let's go get something to eat. No, where I choose to eat at, where I choose to eat, I make sure that the place I choose, it's communicating back to me. My environment has to talk to me. And so I like to go around, be around, eat around people that when the conversations are being had around me, it doesn't cause confusion within me. Why? Because number one, 10 times out of 10, I'm probably around like-minded people. So their conversations that they're having within themselves, this is what miscommunication. Y'all thought miscommunication was something totally different. I blew your mind today. It's not what you think what it was going to be. Miscommunication is when you are in denial, you are naive about who you are, you're not authentic, and you feel like there's no value you have to add, and so you don't say really what's in your heart, what's on your heart. You miscommunicated to yourself. Confusion comes in. You've miscommunicated because you haven't communicated clearly to yourself where it is you belong, what you're here to do, and where you be, where you choose to show up at. And so 10 times out of 10, the places I choose to have lunch at, guarantee you the environment that I sit in my presence, when I make my presence known there, I'm going to meet like-minded individuals. And I may not have to meet them, but just the conversation that's going on around me, it is a conversation that I can find myself in, and I can be my 100% authentic self in that conversation without being fake, because they're probably 10 times out of 10 speaking my language. So I don't just choose a random place to go have lunch. My places are, everything is communicating. So where I choose to go sit to eat lunch, the walls, the paintings on the wall, you understand what I'm saying? The vibration of the lighting in the room, the get up of the waiters, all of that stuff communicates. Everything communicates. Everything communicates. So I'm paying attention to my environment. I don't have to be like, go somewhere and say, oh, she don't have on the right apron today. No, it's not that. It's just that I pay attention to who I am, and I make sure I've communicated clearly to myself who I am. And so therefore I make sure where I go, the environment is speaking back to me. I don't have to be like, oh, she got on the wrong apron. The fact, because I'm clear and conscious of where I go to eat, when I get there, she's going to have on the right apron. The paintings on the wall is going to be the right kind of painting. The lighting in the room is going to be right. Why? Because I am attracted to my environment. My environment attracts me. It communicates to me. It pulls me and draws me to it. It draws me to it. I'm drawn to my environment. I'm drawn to my environment. My environment, for me, that's why I don't, you know what I'm saying? If I'm going to do something, if I'm gonna do something, it's got to be the best. Listen, I'm not gonna book. Listen to me. I'm not gonna book a cheap flight just because it's cheap. No, I'm not gonna book a cheap flight just because it's cheap. I'm gonna book a comfortable flight, because the quality and standard of the mindset of the people of that airline is different. And I make sure that if I'm flying, if I'm booking, people book my flights a lot, but if I'm booking, my environment got to speak to me. So if I'm booking, you better be damn sure that when I fly, it's quality standard flying. Because of the quality standard of the minds of the people of the airlines. You understand? Why do you think people are choosing Chick-fil-A over McDonald's? Why do you think Chick-fil-A has come and taken the world by storm? You think it's because the chicken is good? Yeah, but you think because the chicken is better, the food is better there? It's not because the food is better. It's because everything is communicating. And the quality of service at a Chick-fil-A versus the quality of service at a McDonald's compare in drastic, big difference. Okay? People go to Chick-fil-A not because of the food. Yeah, but the food is good. But the top priority is the service. People go to Chick-fil-A because of the service, the quality of service. Everything is communicating. And so people want that kind of standard. That where they go, the communication being taught back to them, the communication that's being had, keeps them in a higher state. And so everything is communicating. Is what you're doing, where you go, is it constantly helping you evolve and adding value to where it keeps you in a higher state? Because everything is communicating. Everything is communicating. So where are you finding yourself? You have to be aware. Number one, you have to be aware, and you have to be conscious of where you go, who you're with, and what you choose to do. Because it's all communicating to you. And if you find yourself in just random places with random people, confusion comes in. because there's a miscommunication language in the universe that's happening. Distorted conversations. That's why I go find myself, if I go eat out at a restaurant, that's why I go find myself where I know the conversations are being had are probably conversations of people talking about their business, living their purpose, talking about some type of thing with family, some type of environment that is inducing me in a love state, a calm state, a state of calm and well-being. Because the conversation, the vibration, the energy being put out, I may not be able to tune in to every conversation that's being had, but the vibration is what's speaking. The energy is what's speaking. And I can tell from the energy that is being had in those conversations, it's putting me and inducing me in a state of where I'm there, and even though I may not be hearing, even though you cannot, quote unquote, make out what's being said, it's still being supplanted in your subconscious. It's still being planted in your subconscious. It's still being planted in your subconscious. The conversation is being had. Sometimes you'll find yourself wanting something, desiring something, and you don't even know where it came from. It probably came from you just being in an environment of people having conversations around you. And the language got communicated in your subconscious, and you picked up on it, not knowing you picked up on it, and all of a sudden you want a certain thing that you don't even know where this came from. Where did that come from? Why do I want this? Why do I want ice cream? Did I hear somebody say ice cream earlier? I don't know. Okay? So, you have to be in an environment that talks back to you. You just pick a random place to go, random places you just jump in and go and be and hang out at. There's going to be a lot of confused conversations. There's going to be a lot of different type of topics. Places I go, 90% of the people are probably talking about something I would be talking about. And so therefore, I can be in a state of calm when I'm in my environment, because the communication language being had speaks to me, and I can just sit there and be okay with what's going on around me. Versus going somewhere where it's, no purpose, no clear communication of who one is, where one belongs in life. If you don't have a clear conscious of where you belong, who you are, you're going to have random type of conversations that don't add value. You're going to have random conversations that adds no value. You're just going to have, you just jump from topic to topic to topic, conversation to conversation to conversation, but you don't even know you're speaking back to yourself when you have these conversations. You're speaking back. You're communicating to yourself, back to yourself. You're planting your own words back into your subconscious mind, and therefore you start to live out from that place. Instead of being in a place where the conversations that are being had adds value, and therefore when you speak out of your mouth, out of your mouth, the heart, out of the mouth, the Bible says, out of the mouth, the heart speaketh. And so from your mouth, what you speak comes from your heart. And so when you're speaking, you're actually planting those words back into your biosphere. You're planting those words back into your biosphere. When you speak into the atmosphere, you're actually rooting those words back into your biosphere, and you become that confusion that you put out. And so therefore you find yourself in random places with random people, with random conversations being had. Nothing is related to one thing. Nothing is related to a certain thing. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why when I find myself in places, it has to be an environment that speaks back to me. Everything is communicated. So, you got to know where you belong. And find yourself in those places so that the conversations that are being had is communicating back to you. It's communicating back to you and planting in your subconscious more of what you need to continue to grow and develop. Even if you're not having a personal conversation with the people in the environment just has to speak back to you. Number one. And you'll start to grow, you'll start to develop, you'll start to realize how exponentially your mind expands, not even knowing how you just learned something or you picked up on something and you never learned it or read it in a book, but you may have heard it in a conversation that was had around you. And then you're able to now go back and share that kind of a message with someone, even though you don't even remember where it came from. But if you're in a healthy environment, it's going to communicate healthy things back to you, and it's going to add value, and you're going to speak from a healthy place. Out of the mouth, the heart speaketh, right? And so, what are you speaking from your heart? Is it true? Is it real? Is it authentic? Or is it denial and naivete? And so you have conversations. Now you have to have a conversation with yourself. You have to get clear. You have to communicate clearly to yourself who you are, what you're here to do, and where you belong. That part is important, where you belong. Because you will find yourself in that environment where you belong and people belong to you. Listen, I don't find myself in environments at all where I don't belong. If I don't belong there, I won't be there. It has to be a place where I belong. So I go to certain places. I go to like bookstores. I go to certain restaurants because I know the conversations around me that are being had are feeding into my subconscious. Good things, healthy things, high vibrational things. I'm not just randomly going places, randomly choosing places, randomly picking places to eat, to sit down and read, to do my work. I don't just randomly pick places. I need my environment to talk back to me. The question is your environment talking back to you? Like if you look at my place, my apartment is the same way. I set it up to where everything talks back to me. It's every time I walk in my house, it's all communicating the language to me. It's communicating something to me. Peace, calm. That's just how I set my place up. Same thing with my office. You know, when I set it up, when I finish the work on that, you know, it's going to be an environment where it communicates to you that when you walk in the doors of my office, you're gonna know. When you walk in the doors of my place, you're gonna know. Oh, this is healthy for me. My environment speaks back to you. It has to speak back to you. Before I even say a word, everything else has to speak to you. My appearance. Before I say anything, everything is already talking for me. My office, the things in my office, the outfit that I'm wearing that day, it's all talking to you before I open my mouth. And miscommunication happens because you're not clear on who you are, what you're here to do, and where you belong. Where do you belong? Stop going to random places. Stop just choosing random places to just go and be. Stop going to be at random places. Stop going to choose random places. Stop being in random places. Stop just showing up anywhere and everywhere. You have to know who you are, what you're here to do, so you know where you belong. Have you communicated? We can make that heal the matter. To communicate to yourself who you are, get clear on that. What you're here to do, get clear about that, and where you belong. where you belong. We healing the matter right now. Number one, get clear. Communicate to yourself. Go write it down on a board, on a piece of paper, but get clear about it. Who you are. Who are you? Like, are you a teacher? Are you a speaker? Are you a writer? Are you an author? Are you a poet? Are you a cook? Get clear about that. Communicate that. Miscommunication happens because we're not communicating. It's not the other way, what you thought miscommunication was, where you're you're conversating with people. But communication is everything else. The environment. The atmosphere, right? Your atmosphere must reflect your biosphere. Is your atmosphere, I don't show up, I don't get on a plane if my atmosphere is not already inducing me into a state of expanded awareness. I don't get on a plane to go anywhere if that's not happening. If I know that where I'm going is not talking back to me, feeding me, into me, communicating to me, it has to be doing all of these things. Because number one, I know who I am. I'm a healer. If I get, let's communicate. Let me give you the example. So get clear about who you are, what you're here to do, and where you belong. I'm a healer. My focus, this is who I am. So my focus is solely on my mental, my spiritual, my emotional, because I'm so passionate about this that I love this work. My emotional, my mental, my spiritual, my physical, my atmosphere, my biosphere, my hemisphere, my world has to reflect back to me. Because I'm a healer, then my environment has to do what? My environment has to be healing. It has to heal me. So I stay a healed being. My environment must be healing. So I stay a healed being. So therefore, number one, get clear on who you are. I communicate to myself daily. I am a holistic healer. I'm a holistic healer. I want to heal you all the way around in all aspects, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, biologically. I want to heal you in all aspects. I'm a holistic healer. I heal all aspects of your being. I get clear about that. That's what I communicate to myself daily. And this is what I communicate. This is what I know. Now that I know this, I ask first, who am I? What I'm here to do, and where I belong. And I ask, where do I belong? I ask, who am I? What I am here to do. So I know who I am. I'm a holistic healer. What I am here to do is to heal you and touch as many people and communicate and conversate with as many people as I possibly can. That's what I'm here to do. To have an encounter with people. I'm here to have an encounter with people. That's why I go. That's why when I get called to go somewhere, absolutely, I'm gonna show up. Because it speaks to who I am. If me getting a call to show up somewhere speaks to who I am, then I'm there. Then I'm there. Because it speaks to who I am. I'm a healer. And one of the things about being a healer is you have to define what I am here to do. My role as a holistic healer is to do what? Get out into the world and engage with people, have encounters with people, make contact with people, connect with people. Because I never know who it is that I may come across that needs what I do. And 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, wherever I show up, most of the time, almost 100% of the time, I'm meeting someone that, I met a guy named Oscar at a restaurant. Because of the environment that I set myself in, I meet people that need what I do. I met a guy named Oscar at a restaurant. I was eating at, and he, funny thing is, he's from Minnesota, and here I am in Minnesota, and but he lives in Florida. I met him in Florida, and we were conversating, but I found myself, or he found me, because I am what I am. I only attract to me. I got a post. I'm a post about love, about being loved. That you attract love. You don't find love, you attract it. And so I got a post, I'm going to share that after this live. And so I attract what it is that I am. I know who I am. I define who I am. And so therefore I attract the people who I am. When I be what I am. See, I be a holistic healer. So therefore I attract people who need my service, my work. And so therefore when I get a phone call to show up somewhere, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to go. Why? Because there's someone, whether it be one person or 1,000, there's someone that needs to hear me communicate to them the truth of who they are. There's someone who needs to hear me communicate to them the truth of who they are. So I communicate that. And therefore, there's no confusion. There's no miscommunication. Why? Because I'm clear on who I am. And now that that's out the way, there's no confusion within me. Guess what? I get to look into you, help you, and get clear on who you, help you get clear on who you are. That's one. Define who you are. Define what you're here to do. I'm here to make contact with people. I'm here to engage with people. I'm here to make contact with people because I've made clear who I am. So now my next job, my next role is to get out there and make contact with as many people as I can so that I can communicate clearly to them who they are, the truth. Number 2. And number three, where do you belong? Huh? Where do you belong? If you define who you are, okay, once you define who you are, all right, and define what you're here to do, the place will draw, where you belong will draw you. This is all communication. I need you to understand that this is all communicative language. This is all what they call energy signature. This is what they call an energy signature. When you write in the universe, and when you write into the universe who you are, you become an energy signature. And that energy signature, beloved, has a communication line attached to it. So therefore, you magnetically pull in and magnetically are drawn to only that which is of your energy signature. And so where do I belong? I don't have to search and look for it. My energy signature communicates to the world, to the universe, and therefore those people find me and they draw me into them, or I find them and I go immerse myself with those people, and this is where I belong. I'm never, usually 99.9999999% of the time, I'm never out of place. I'm never out of place. I love you to light too, Nagasi. I love you to light. I love you to light. I appreciate you, Netaruf. I'm thankful too. Glorious truth. Yes. All right. That's the healing. That was healing the matter. Define who you are, where you belong. Define who you are, what you're here to do, where you belong. And I would make this the last part by saying, you don't have to truly write a definition out about where you belong. Remember, you are an energy. Once you define who you are, you become an energy signature. You start to communicate to the universe. I embody being a holistic healer. I can tell you that I'm a bunch of different other things. I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a poet, but all of that is encompassing of what the work that I do. It's all under the umbrella. I'm a holistic healer. So I heal you holistically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, biologically, psychologically, physiologically. I heal you in that way, holistically, but I also heal you in another holistic way, all the way around way, through my speaking, through my books, through my t-shirts that got messages on them, through my videos that I share with you. So I'm healing you. I'm giving you healing. I'm giving you a holistic, well-rounded form of healing, and everything is communicating. My shirts communicate that I have. They communicate a language of healing. My books communicate a language of healing. My videos communicate a language of healing. My poetry communicates a language of healing. I heal you holistically all the way around. I heal your mind. I heal your soul. I'm healing you in so many holistic ways. And so, yeah, I'm a speaker. Yeah, I'm a teacher. Yeah, I'm a poet. Yeah, I'm an author. Yeah, I'm a writer. Yeah, I'm a philosopher. You know, when I post my quotes and stuff, that's the philosopher in me coming out. Yeah, I'm all of those things, but under the umbrella of what? Being a holistic healer. That's what I am. And once I make the recommendation to the universe, this is who I am, I create an energy signature. And with that, therefore, there's never any miscommunication. What did I say at the beginning of this video? That you begin to miscommunicate to yourself because you're not being truthfully authentic about who you are. You're not being authentic and true to who you are. And so denial, naivete, and when you find yourself in random places, it's adding no value. I want the conversations around me, even though I'm not tuned into them, but it's feeding my subconscious. They got to be feeding my subconscious. It's got to be a healthy environment. Again, you're going to find yourself in an atmosphere that of your biosphere. I'm only going to find myself in an atmosphere of my biosphere and my hemisphere, which is your world. My hemisphere, and when I travel the world, when I travel to places like this, when I travel the country, this is my hemisphere. This is my world now. I'm in my world. So I went to a summit yesterday. I had a panel discussion with like-minded people. What else? Did a meet and greet. Okay? And so I find myself in my environment, in my hemisphere. My world is shaped to the signature of energy that I create in myself, that I tell myself that I am. And so not only does my biosphere, not only does my hemisphere agree with my biosphere, but my atmosphere, my immediate surroundings, the places, your environment is places you love to hang out at, places you love to frequently visit, people you love to frequently be around. That's your environment. My environment reflects my biosphere. My atmosphere reflects my biosphere. All right? All right. Hope you got that. I hope you understood what miscommunication patterns truly is. It's not, when I was meditating on this last night, I was thinking, what does a miscommunication pattern look like? And then realized it wasn't me and you having a conversation and there being no truth spoken and there's lies told and therefore me and you are confused on what was said. No, miscommunication happens within yourself. There's miscommunication. You're not communicating clearly with who you are, where you belong, what you're here to do. You've not communicated clearly to you. So there's miscommunication that happens in your atmosphere, in your environment. And there's miscommunication that happens in your hemisphere. And if we go even further, your stratosphere, which is your universe. We can go further with this thing and call it your stratosphere. and say your universe. Right? Right. Okay. All right. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you for joining me on these. It was really 16 videos because 2 of them was a different type of video. But thank you for joining me in these 14-day video series. 16 really, but 14 topics of breaking habitual patterns. Listen, I want to say this, that I do love you. And I say I love you because the work that I do, I give away. People are like, why are you doing that? Why are you giving that all away for free? Listen, beloved, I'm not afraid to do videos like this, give away the knowledge, the treatment, the healing, because it doesn't take away from my manifestations of what I'm here to do. It only increases and add more value. Why? Because when you tell someone who you are, you know the first thing they're going to do? They're going to go look you up. And they're going to want to see if what you say you are reflects what you actually do here online. And so I'll give you a scenario real quick, and I won't take too long to do this. There's a radio DJ who said this rapper came up to him and he wanted him to play his music. He said, hey man, I'm an artist, I'm a rap artist, man. Can you play my tape? This is the DJ telling this story. It was on YouTube. I was watching it years ago. Actually, it was a conversation with Nipsey Hussle. It was a DJ talking with Nipsey Hussle. And the DJ said, man, I get these rap artists that come up to me that ask me to play their music all the time. They want me to play their music. They want me to spin their records. But I go to their Instagram, I go to their Facebook page, and I ask them, first of all, like, are you already putting in the work? Are you putting out any work? Are you putting it out there already? But he said, I go to their Instagram page, and guess what? They're not even putting out the work. How you want me to help spin your records when you're not even putting the work out yourself? You're not even putting the music out yourself. How you want me to help you spin the records when you're not putting the work out yourself? Beloved, I do this for free and for fun. Not because I know that if people ask me what I do, they're going to come look me up and find out, oh snap, he got a whole, you know, he really does this. I got a YouTube page dedicated to the work I'm doing. I got an Instagram page. I got a Facebook page. I got it all. It's all here. I'm not doing it because I'm afraid people going to look me up and find me out to be a fraud. No. My work is here, y'all. You believe me or you don't, I don't care. But I'm not doing it so people can find me. It's just that I love what I do and I'm consistent with it. I can't help but do what's in me. I can't help but put it out. And again, putting this type of work out doesn't stop my manifestations. That's why I don't mind doing this. It actually increases my manifestation because a man must do what? When you speak, you decree a thing. If I speak about being a holistic healer, I decree that. I write that in the laws of the universe, in the laws of spirit. I write that out in law and I decree what I speak. And so because I stamp it and engrave it in the universe, it becomes a law and the word shall not return void. So when I speak, I decree. If I say I'm a holistic healer, guess what? I'm not afraid to do the work for free. Because I've decreed who I am, therefore the manifestations is going to happen anyway. And that's why my office is a living testament of putting out the work. Now starting and launching my business, my brand. I keep saying business, but my brand. The Soul Center is where it's at, baby. Sanctuary of holistic love. That means you're going to be loved all the way around, holistic. You're going to be loved from every aspect of your being, from your mental, your physical, your spiritual, emotional, physiologically, biologically, psychologically. You're going to be loved. Everything that I do, the work that I do is going to encompass you in love, help you heal. It's going to help you heal. All right? Listen. Thank you for the participation of these series. I'm not going to say I won't be back. Knowing me, I say that and I end up being back. So I'm not going to say I won't be back. I'll just say until next time, we'll see each other again. Okay? Thank you for the series. You can go to my YouTube, catch up on all of these series, Obeying Meditations on YouTube, and you can catch all the rewinds, the replays, if you want to get this work. Okay? Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love, your participation, your growth, your development. 14 days, 16 days, but ooh, that's a lot. Thank you. Let's take a breath in. Let's breathe. Breathe in. Let it rise. Let it expand. Let it sit. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Through the mouth. Breathe one more time. Inhale through the nose. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Thank you. Thank you for all of your participation and all your comments. Everyone here. All right. See you. Until next time, I'll see you again. Ashe, Aton, and Amen. I love you. I love me. I love us. Be well and be light, beloved. Peace.